on today's City Beat. With 114 talented musicians, the U.S. Youth Orchestra makes its China debut. We head to New York's hipster Central and Williamsburg to check out some authentic Mexican cooking. We talked to Chinese pop star Jane Jung about working with U.S. rapper Big Sean.
Hello, and welcome to City Beat, where we have the latest in art, culture, entertainment, fashion, and lifestyle. Every Monday, we go from Shanghai to New York, Melbourne, and Los Angeles to bring you some of the coolest stuff from around the world. You can also scan our QR code or check our official WeChat account for all your City Beat updates. I'm your host, Chen Lei. With 114 talented young musicians, Shanghai welcomes the U.S. Youth Orchestra, making its China debut. With a series of concerts set to happen here in the city, it should bring this summer some great classic music.
Black blazers atop of red pants. This is the National Youth Orchestra of the USA. Founded by Carnegie's Hall Whale Music Institute in 2013, each summer, NYO USA brings together the most talented young instrumentalists across the U.S. Now the 2015 orchestra, composed of 114 young musicians, aging from 16 to 19, has embarked on a 7-city China tour. After playing in Beijing, the orchestra recently arrived in Shanghai and gave the audiences a wonderful night of music at the Shanghai Oriental Arts Center. Before the performance, we had a chance to talk to the founder, Sir Clive Gillinson, to learn more about the NYO USA.
Clive, this is the second year of this project. Can you just briefly tell us what it's all about?
Really, the mission is threefold. One is by bringing the finest young players together, they all inspire each other and it lifts standards across the country. Secondly, we want them to be making connections with other kids and inspiring other kids, both in the US and overseas. And so everywhere we travel, we try and make sure that they're meeting other young musicians, so that really there's a halo effect for all the work, so that everything they learn and the inspiration and the enthusiasm and the passion is something that is shared and travels. And then the third part is for them to act as an international youth ambassador for America. Both governments have considered it a really important part of Chinese-American relations, and so it's been designated as one of only 4 cultural pillars in the people-to-people exchange between the two countries.
This year is very different from last year. Last year we did an American tour. It was very it was very exciting, but it was like at home. But here it's like everything's very new, it's very exciting. Being exposed to a very different culture is very awesome.
I think they want us to get to know the cities also, so they've given us a lot of free time to go do whatever we'd like to. So in Beijing, when we were there, we spent hours and hours just walking around the city, getting to know everything, going into small shopping districts, getting souvenirs.
And what's your criteria of choosing all these kids?
Well, firstly, they've got to be the best. I mean, they've got to be fantastic players, but we don't just give them auditions. They have to write an essay. There are all sorts of things. Being a great orchestral player is the combination of being a superb player, but somebody who listens and is actually willing to be part of a team. It's a bit like a chorus line. If people want to be an individual rather than being part of a whole, it doesn't work. And so an orchestra is this fascinating combination of creativity and rigor and discipline as well. The reality is over 20 of the performers in this orchestra have Chinese parents or Chinese roots. So in fact, you know, you can already see the extraordinary contribution China is making to the future of classical music. Just in America, this is only America. Similarly elsewhere around the world. So that's a huge percentage out of 114, well over 20.
And since you started this project, what is the biggest challenge?
I think with every project, part of the challenge is how do you always keep growing? It's to be never satisfied. And so we want every tour to be more interesting. We want to learn from every single project we ever do so that next time we can do even more. But we're also continuing to develop the 2 weeks of training they have before they go on tour and before they all get together. There as well, we want them to learn lots of other skills. It's not just about playing in an orchestra. It's becoming a more complete musician, it's becoming a more complete human being.
I've learned a lot about collaboration and working together with people and communicating, and it's a really good experience learning how to play in an orchestra, because a lot of the time in our lessons and stuff we focus on playing as a soloist, but this is more about playing with other people.
I've worked in orchestras before, but this is definitely the highest caliber orchestra I've ever played in. So I learned how to, I guess, operate more with musicians of my level in a larger context and in going on tour and stuff, how to prepare.
I know that you just finished your performance in Beijing, and this time in Shanghai, the kids are going to play with Li Yunди, and they're also going to play the works of Tan Dun. How do they feel about working with these Chinese masters?
I mean, firstly, with every NYO course, we feel we should be working with the greatest conductors and soloists. Everything we do, we try and create a magnet for talent, and you've got to create a virtuous circle. So by working with the greatest conductors, the greatest soloists, you have the chance of bringing together the finest kids in America, equally by making sure that they're traveling to places which are really important and fascinating and where music really matters, and they make a contribution. It means the whole thing develops its own dynamism. The other thing is, to be a great performer and to be great at anything, frankly, you have to have tremendous curiosity, because that way you keep growing throughout your life. And so I think the opportunity to work with the sort of musicians you're talking about, and you know, from very different cultures in China, is something that fascinates them, because they are like a sponge. They just want to learn. These kids are fascinated by challenges, and they want challenges all the time. And for us, part of the reason we're so committed to education and music education in the broadest sense is we feel it is all about nurturing curiosity and lifelong learning.
Their performance might seem a bit immature to some professional ears. However, the energy and vitality of the orchestra certainly brought the audience something fresh. And we also hope it'll be inspiring for music education here in China.
Set up in Brooklyn's hipster central Williamsburg, let's investigate some authentic Mexican cuisine, paying homage to the arts and culture of Mexico.
It's officially summertime and people are leaving the city to go check out somewhere exotic. But you don't need to cross an ocean to do that. You can just cross the bridge. We're checking out a special spot today.
It's a little piece of Mexico in Brooklyn.
Today we're visiting a creative Mexican restaurant, Zona Rosa. It's located in one of the most popular artistic neighborhoods in New York City, Williamsburg. As soon as you enter the restaurant, you can feel the Mexico vibe immediately.
Well, you know, Mexican food is always related with a bit of a celebration with family and friends. So whenever they come here and they can see the sunset from here, you know, it feels like you're actually in some place in Mexico, just enjoying yourself and having great food, really cold beer, or one of our delicious margaritas, which are perfect for the summer. You know, the hotter, the better.
No doubt about it. It's all in a name. Zona Rosa's owners are bringing the whole Mexican neighborhood experience to Brooklyn, starting with the name of the restaurant.
And also Zona Rosa, the neighborhood in Mexico City, it's a neighborhood that started around the 40s and 50s, and it was all this bohemian movement happening in Mexico City. So we thought that had something to do with the Brooklyn of today, with the Williamsburg of today. So we wanted to have that equivalent of Mexico in the 50s and Brooklyn now. So it might be a great idea to have a little bit of a second floor where you overlook, you know, not a crazy skyline of Manhattan, but just a quiet corner in Brooklyn where you can see our Italian neighbors and everything. So it's part of the festive ambience of Zona Rosa.
Mexican food trucks are very common in Manhattan. Zona Rosa gives this way of serving a whole new meaning in Williamsburg. When I think summer, I think of going to a food truck, but you guys are bringing the two together, restaurant and food truck kind of thing. What do we have here?
Yeah, it's an art strain, 1946. Was a big challenge to put the art strain inside of the building, but we did. We did, and it's, people love it, how it looks, and it's our kitchen. I mean, there is a lot of trucks right now in Mexico City, food trucks, doing around for Mexico City, and now in New York City is a big boom.
Yeah, for sure. And this?
Yeah, Coyoacan is a neighborhood in Mexico City. Like Zona Rosa is a neighborhood in Mexico City too.
With all of the well-designed details here, New York City can be a tropical city as well. Gerardo, this is beautiful. What do we have behind me?
We have a nice skylight. Yeah, with our engineers and architects, we designed this together to bring like a cozy Mexican atmosphere, very tropical. A lot of plants, a lot of green.
What about during the winter time though?
And winter time is a very nice and romantic ambience because you can see when it's snowing.
Ah, so it can be snowing, it can be a blizzard outside, but in here you're like, I'm down in Mexico City. I have nothing to worry about.
You know, in Mexico, our home in Mexico is always green, always a lot of plants. That's why we try to bring that. It's a lot of work every single day to keeping them alive and beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're doing it. Clearly, someone is doing a great job with the water.
I'm doing that.
Yeah, that's you. Here's the man. You're the man, the gardener extraordinaire. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, it's time to take it onto where other fresh things are. The roof.
Let's go to the roof.
In order to get the full Mexico experience, I try some of its traditional food. You can't get a taste of Mexico City without actually enjoying some of its incredible food, and Chef Ivan is here and has some great options for me. What do we have, Chef? What did you make for me?
We have two kinds of ceviches. One of my favorite is very traditional in Mexico, actually in Mazatlan.
Wow, so this is so refreshing. It's a great summer afternoon kind of thing. You come here. And so why did you choose to keep traditional flavors? You could have easily done fusion, but you're going with traditional.
This is not easy, but I tried to do my best in the beginning when I came from Mexico, try to find a real Mexican cuisine, and we can't find it in that places. That's why I tried to bring to New York all the flavors, all the traditional flavors for the New York people.
Ah, got it. So you need to give them a little taste of where you come from. Okay, this is your favorite. I'm going to do it.
My favorite is spicy, be careful.
And little fresh lime on there, never hurt anyone.
Lime, yeah, they are always lime.
Do it the way the Mexicans do it a little bit. Have a little bit with me.
Shoot.
I can't eat this alone. Here we
Spicy
go.
One.
Bottoms up. Yep, hot tamale.
Hot tomato. What?
A little spicy, but a lot of amazing flavor. And I love with the salsa on there. It gives that kick to it, but it's also refreshing. I don't feel like I'm gonna have this.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be way down after. And I'm gonna wash it down with this watermelon
Perfect. Watermelon
margarita, Gerardo's special recipe. So, all right. Man, refreshing is the word of the day. This has a little punch, though. I can definitely taste the tequila. Between the mouth-watering food and the tropical atmosphere, I feel so relaxed at Zona Rosa. It just goes to show that sometimes you can take a trip outside of the city without actually having to leave. Reporting from New York, I'm Christy Clements. Oh, baby, that's good. That is good.
Okay, it's time for a quick break, and when we return, we'll head to see what's up with the new collaboration between Jane Zhang and the rapper Big Sean.
Coming up next, we see what's up with the recent collaboration between Jane Zhang and US rapper Big Sean.
For the latest Terminator film, Chinese pop star Jane Zhang has joined forces with US rapper Big Sean to record the movie's theme song. We met up with Jane to find out more about their new collaboration.
Chinese pop sensation Jane Zhang and American hip-hop artist Big Sean teamed up to join Terminator Genesis. Paramount Pictures gave high praise for their performance. Let's see how this collaboration came into being.
非常的特别，然后今天也非常的期待，因为终于等到了大家可以听到《Fighting Shadows》这首歌的时刻。今天的首映礼也是，因为这边也应该是奥斯卡的那个颁奖典礼的场地嘛，我觉得意义非常的不一样，从来都没有想过自己可以在这里走红毯。
I can't leave him.
Whatever they did to John, we need to reverse it.
Everything's changed. We are humanity's last hope. Load up.
其实最早是因为我刚好那段时间在 LA， 然后就接到 Paramount 的邀请，但当时讲的是中国地区的主题曲，然后我说好，那我就找音乐人来写歌，然后做制作，整个做完刚好我在北京电影节的时候，然后 Paramount 也有内容需要在那边做宣传，然后我给他们听了我录完的歌，因为歌是在北京录的，然后听完之后他们非常喜欢，就说。 变成全球的主题曲。然后我做完 mix 之后，我觉得这个音乐的内容需要一个嘻哈的这一种感觉的部分，所以我又邀请了 Big Sean 来参加，所以就是现在这一个歌曲的样子，我非常非常的期待，因为之前的10年我都没有唱过这样的曲风。 啊，我就是很兴奋。They want me to lay down the state, I'm a dad, ain't my fate now. I'm 100% if you testing my faith that I'm from a city, the reward's a playground. I've been living right and wrong. Honestly, it's just so much to say, but only God could judge me. If I die today, it's judgment day. Straight up. 我现在是先做完这个中国的 Band World Tour， 然后。 在准备英文专辑，其实已经录完了，就很期待大家看到全新的自己吧。真正的 shadows 不是你的敌人，就是你不可琢磨的敌人，永远是你自己。如何战胜自己的恐惧，战胜自己觉得做不到的事情？我觉得，这里面的 fighting 更多的是跟自己的一个怎么讲，一个成长的过程，应该是。Take your best shot, I'll just give it back. I'm on the winning side, we will be defeated. I'm not afraid to die, 'cause life is a battle. I need to feel like hiding shadows.
This is the first time that Jane has worked on a song for an English language film. This is also the first time for Big Sean to sing for a feature film. Both say the collaboration was amazing. I'm Xiaoying, reporting from Los Angeles.
And now it's time for a quick break, and when we return, we'll off to Australia to explore an exciting new platform for young Chinese and Australian businesses.
Coming up next, bringing China and Australia closer together, we explore the new China-Australia Millennium Project.
Uniting 130 young leaders from China and Australia, the China-Australia Millennium Project is fostering business relationships throughout both countries based on creativity and innovation. Let's take a close look.
Each year, Sydney plays host to the Vivid Festival, a celebration of light music and ideas. But this year, for the very first time, a special delegation of young Australian and Chinese innovators are leaving their mark on the festival, coming up with ideas and projects that can change the future.
I think the Vivid Ideas Festival is all about bringing people together. These are the brightest minds that our two nations have across multiple areas like technology, construction, urban affairs, transport, tourism, infrastructure development.
The China-Australia Millennium Project, or CAMP, is designed to build relationships between the two countries. And what better way to set the agenda than climb up the iconic Sydney Harbour Bridge? The 130 delegates have been working in an online incubator for 9 weeks. This is the first time they've met in person. The delegates are divided into 26 teams across 13 think tanks, each focused on a different problem.
How do we put out-of-sight regions and communities on the map?
It's day one, and the teams have just 1 minute to pitch their initial concepts.
Anyone can have a good idea at selling the idea and making it something that people want to engage with. That's going to be our big challenge.
The teams are competing for the chance to pitch at an international competition in Beijing.
So the problem we're trying to tackle is the anxiety for the young professionals in both Australia and China under the age of 35. Because I do feel it's an important issue and it's getting increasing sort of serious in both Australia and China. On the personal front, I've got friends, young professionals suffer from mental health. My housemate committed suicide last year in my house. So I feel like doing this project do have very important or different meanings to me.
You know, the Australian culture and Chinese culture is totally two different paths. How these people without any experience, the very younger generation, so they probably don't have much of understanding deeply about foreign cultures. How are they gonna bring both of their strengths together and solve one issue with an outcome?
I think that there's a few different pace levels amongst the groups. You know, some have really surged ahead and they're taking the opportunity extremely seriously. I think they'll go really far. Some other teams are also focusing on just developing a great relationship amongst themselves. So we'll see the longer term benefits from those guys as they go into the future.
Definitely win.
Yes.
100%. Yeah, I believe in all of our team.
With 2 days left to their final pitch, teams are working hard to meet their deadline.
We worked till like 3 to 4 a.m. in the morning, but yeah, that was because we had suddenly some eureka moments that, oh, this is it, you know, these kind of moments, and that kind of makes us very excited and then keeps us moving on.
Hopefully we can make it to the final.
Working late into the night, Tim and his team are pushing hard to be ready for pitching day.
We'd had a rough idea of how this was going to work out a few weeks ago, but this week has made us think about a lot of different things. And I mean, particularly 2 days ago, the guys who came in and facilitated the session about it, they made me look at this a lot more differently.
It's pitching day, and the teams have to impress a panel of experts if they want to make it through to the final. The judges have to decide who will go through to the final.
The thing that really stood out was all the people here are not necessarily here to make money, they're here to make change, really global change, and so a lot of the ideas were very big and very ambitious ideas.
A sense of relief for anxiety who made the cut. But for Annie and Isaac, the final outcome doesn't matter. After 3 months working on their ideas, it all comes down to one final round of pitches at Sydney's Town Hall.
80% of households in China and Australia are crying out to reduce their energy consumption, to save themselves some money, but also to do something for the environment.
Our vision is to improve mental health for Chinese and Australian youth.
The winner of Camp 2015 is Illuminate!
The judges' crowning team illuminate the camp victors with their device that measures household energy usage. anxiety didn't leave empty-handed, taking out the People's Choice Award. And for Tim, whose team didn't make the final, it was always about more than just the competition.
To be able to make it to here or not was irrelevant, to be honest. It was such a good process to be able to develop from such different perspectives.
Camp is a project that was designed to foster innovation and bridge a cultural divide. And for many of the delegates, it's done just that. But for those who dare to dream, the future they're building starts right now.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's show, and join us next time when we check out the new show Cavalier, fusing horsemanship with acrobatics. Also remember to scan our QR code and check our official WeChat for all your City Beat updates. I'm your host Chen Lei. Thanks for watching City Beat. See you then. Bye.
On the next City Beat, 40 horses and world-class riders come together for the newest Circus Cavalier.